Welcome to Forward Focused. I'm your host, John Reich, and in today's episode, we're talking about why time management is so important and the fact that over 80% of people don't have a time management system and how that's hurting their production and their life. Let's dive into it. So you probably fell upon this podcast or you've subscribed to this channel because you want to continue to have tips, tricks, hacks, and approaches to be the best leader you can possibly be for yourself, for your family, and for the people in your world. Well, one of the ways you can do that is introduce different time management strategies and tips to the people that you lead, as well as working into your daily schedule. 82% of people don't have a system that they follow for time management. Here are some reasons why a system is just incredibly important. Number one, you do more in less time. You're more efficient. Number two, you're more productive. 44% of employees reported being most productive early in the morning, while 31% said that they were more productive in the late morning. After that, everybody across the board dips in productivity. So time management allows you to take advantage of your most productive time so you can do your best work through your week. Thirdly, you're less stressed. When you're following a system, what happens is you actually create a habit in your brain. And when you create that habit, your body goes into autopilot. This is a evolutionary tactic that our body has adjusted to over many, many years. And the reason for that is because we want to preserve our brain, our focus, our energy on new ideas, on new topics, on creativity, as well as protecting ourselves and remaining safe. So anything that our body can do to put something into autopilot and just be like routine is actually a life-saving feature that our bodies have kind of created and put into our system. So here's an example. Have you ever been driving down the road and all of a sudden you like kind of come to again and you're like, whoa, I didn't realize I just drove 3 miles? Or do you think about every morning when you get up, first thing, what do? You walk out your bedroom door, you hit your coffee maker, you let the animals or dogs go out, you grab a glass of water, you start to make your coffee, you add your creamer, you sit in the same spot right after you let your pets back in. All of those things are habits that save us time, and that creates less stress. So in the same breath, in terms of creating habits to create less stress, we want to follow a time management system so we're less stressed. 1 in 8 people feels that their work is never under control. Effective time management strategies allow us to be less stressed and more in control both personally and professionally. Do you ever find yourself not meeting deadlines? A time management strategy would help you with that. You won't feel like you're running in the mud, and eventually you'll have more energy as you follow that. So what I'd like to do is give you 10 strategies to have more effective time management skills. Number 1, something that I personally follow, and everybody that I coach, I tell them this: win your day before 11. Win your day before 11. Whatever your number 1 task is, whether it's lead generation for your sales team, whether it's giving a status update or report if you work in a hospital system and you got to do your rounds with the doctors, whether it's reviewing contracts because it's the first of the month and you want to get those out to your clients for the next month. Whatever you need to do, we need to do it before 11 a.m. What I like to say on that is, if you win your day before 11 a.m., you're actually winning a future day. If you win before 11 for the future, then you can go focus on the rest of your day from 11 till the end of the day. You can focus on your appointments, your conversations, your dialogues, anything that you need to be doing that day. But before 11 needs to be for your future self. A quote by Abe Lincoln seems really appropriate here. The quote that he said is, "If you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend the first one sharpening my axe." The idea there is, what's the one thing I can do first that makes everything else easier or even unnecessary? Number 2, create your day the night before. Winning your day is all about preparation. You should be reviewing your schedule, reviewing your tools or systems that you need. Maybe it's plugging in your cameras or video equipment and making sure they're charged up. Maybe it's packing your gym bag the night before so you can sweat before 8 a.m. and maximize your day, your focus, and your physical energy. Maybe it's creating a to-do list and looking at your schedule and saying, do I have everything done for each of the appointments or commitments that I have? What else do I need to prepare? Write them in priority, rank priority of what you want to tackle first the moment you get in the door. That really corresponds nicely with the first thing I said of winning before 11 a.m. In my world, I call this a rundown, and I do a rundown at the end of every day, sometime between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m., depending on my schedule. And a rundown consists of 3 simple things. Number 1, my hit list. Who do I want to talk to tomorrow that I didn't get to talk to today? Number 2, my messages and correspondence, did it go out? Did I call people back, email them back, text them back because I'm a man of my word? And then number 3, I review my calendar for the night before. Am I double booked anywhere? Did they accept the invite? Do I need to send them any information prior to tomorrow's meeting? If you create the next day, the night before, your day will be that much more efficient. Number 3, practice replace, don't erase. This is a biggie. We have calendars. You're finally getting into the rhythm of using it. And all of a sudden you look up and you're 30 minutes into your next time block that of something you were supposed to review, a project or some sort of deadline you're working on for your boss. Instead of getting frustrated and frazzled because you didn't move on to that task and you got sucked into something else or you got distracted, stop what you're doing for 2 to 5 minutes, do a reset. Put on your favorite song, do 20 jumping jacks, do 10 push-ups, go for a little walk. Come back refocused and spend the rest of your time block on that new item or task. You'll thank yourself because you're focusing on the process and you're not focusing on being perfect in it. If you have a 60-minute time block on a project, I'd rather you spend 30 minutes on that time block than no time at all. So truly think about replacing, don't erasing, and moving things on your calendar for when they make sense for you in your schedule. You got to play with this a little bit. You got to feel comfortable with your schedule, just like when you rode your bike for the first time, tied your shoe for the first time, tied a tie. All these things take time and everybody does them just a little bit differently. So our 4th strategy is measure what you want to improve. Educator and lead author Peter Drucker says that you can only manage what you measure. And similarly, this is the idea that you should always measure what you want to improve. We have a tool audit. It's called the task audit to help with this. So if you haven't seen that episode, you can search for the task audit with Forward Focused. And what this does is it allows us to audit our time. Where are we spending it? What are we doing with our time? And are we using our time as efficiently as possible? I find a lot of people I coach or consult are using their time on the 80%, the everything else, the stuff that can be either put off or maybe delegated away or just maybe not done altogether. And when we get caught up in doing that, we don't get to focus on what we're passionate about or what generates money for our life or business. And so I encourage you deeply to think about having a system in which you're tracking what you're doing on a daily basis so you can be making adjustments to your calendar and feel good about the decisions you're making. What would it feel like if every day you got up and knew that you were working on your best, most biggest rocks and you were moving the needle forward in your life and business? Measure what you want to improve is the first step to be able to do that. Number 5, this is a big one, and this one's simple. Just start. I know so many people that are getting ready to get ready to get ready. When you're coaching or consulting somebody that consistently gives you reasons or results around why they haven't started yet, eventually you look at them and simply say, wouldn't you be better off tomorrow if you just started today? Even if you failed, even if you made a mistake, isn't taking a step in one direction either going to eliminate that direction for you so you can go in a different way or get you closer to the goal? Remember, progress is the enemy of perfection. And remember that perfection is the enemy of profit. Get started. Understand that any project or relationship or goal that you set is going to look different 3 months, 6 months, a year from today anyway. I'd rather see you get started and then continue to inspect what you're trying to improve than just sitting on the sidelines waiting for the right moment. Okay, number 6, limit your distractions. We are caught in a world where distractions hit us a million miles a minute. I call this sweeping for landmines and creating your bunker, right? At Keller Williams, I'm blessed. They've taught us so many hacks around your time, being an efficient steward of the time that we're given. So if you don't have a place in your home, if you don't have a place at work or a combination there within of both areas where you can have a thinking time, where you can have a focus time, where you can be not distracted, I really recommend that people put all of their screens, these screens right now, my iPhone, my tablet, are all in work mode. Only my wife right now can actually get through to me on the first attempt. That ability to limit who can have access to me stops those micro interruptions that happen all through the day and allows me to be more efficient with my time and focus on the task at hand. You should have water on hand, coffee, snacks, anything in your bunker that you can have on hand that keeps you in the flow. And there's been studies, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but there's been studies done that the ideal work break time is work 25 to 30 minutes, take a 2 to 5 minute break. Work 25 to 30 minutes, take a 2 to 5 minute break. And that allows you to stay in that creative space. It allows you to stay on task with a really tangible reward in the near future. So just something to think about in terms of your timing on that. Number 7. So we're actually going to do a part 2 on this episode, and we're going to go deep into this tool. It's using the 4 Ds of time management. I'm going to take you through the tool. We're going to show you the graph, and we're going to give you examples. But right now, just for the quick strategy, it's literally 4 areas of the strategy that you can use in your schedule. Do it. If you can do it in less than 2 minutes, just do it and get it done. Defer or delay it. If it's something that's important but not urgent, defer it or delay it to another time on your calendar. 3, delegate it. Is it really in your 20% or is it part of that 80% we talked about earlier? If it's not part of your top focus, can it be delegated elsewhere? And then lastly, delete it altogether. Is this something that you really need to be focusing on? So check out, we're going to have a link below this episode to part 2 for the 4 Ds of time management. And I know that you and your team will be more efficient if you implement that strategy. Number 8, use a timer. This is called the Pomodoro Technique. Francesco Crillo created this in 1987. And when he was a student in grad school and he was studying for exam, and he went and got a kitchen timer and he set it for 25 minutes, and the rest is history. And this is what I was just referencing. 25-minute burst of focus with a timer that goes off, that's uninterrupted, and then take a 2 to 5 minute break. This timing strategy allows you to really measure how much time you're spending in different areas. Do you have the right balance in your calendar? Do you have the right balance in your job? Focusing on those areas. So something to definitely consider. You may not use a kitchen timer today. You may just use your iPhone or set an automatic timer with Alexa or Google. Number 9, find an accountability partner. I can't share with you enough what accountability does for you. You know, we think about accountability in the gym, right? Hiring a trainer. And that's fantastic. I have one. I use my trainer twice a week, and I'm absolutely seeing goals and outcomes that I wouldn't have had just going at it myself. But we should have accountability partners in a lot of key areas of our life. And one of them could be around efficiency, your calendar, focusing on, kind of having the balance that you desire. Share with 1, 2, 3 people you trust, people that you admire, that you want to emulate, that you want to be more like. Share with them your calendar. Say, hey, I'd like to meet with you for coffee, once a month, and maybe quarterly go into a deeper dive on how well I'm doing on my calendar. And I'd like to do the same thing with you. That peer-to-peer accountability is absolutely critical because it gets lonely. When you try and be more efficient and accomplish more things, it can feel lonely if you're the only one doing it. So that accountability partner has helped me tremendously. And then lastly, strategy number 10, I wanted to recommend some books and podcasts that I feel are really helpful around time management and improving those strategies. So some books that I really have enjoyed that I've personally read. Master Your Time, Master Your Life, a fantastic book all around how if you follow a time block schedule and you master that, your life falls into place. And sometimes we think it's the opposite. We want freedom and flexibility for a life by design. So if we're following a schedule, how could we possibly live this free and full life? So master your time, master your life. Another one is Atomic Habits. We talked about this earlier in our session today, that habits save us energy, which allow us to live a fuller life. Following a time block schedule is a system that saves us energy to live a fuller life. So Atomic Habits talks about building those habits into your world. Win the Day is another one. It's about maximizing your day and putting your most important things at the front end of your day, like we talked about in strategy 1 and 2. And then lastly, 12-week year. One of my personal favorites. I read it every year. It's about taking your goals for the year and chunking them down into a quarter and saying, what would it look like for you to win this next 12 weeks? And if you win the next 12 weeks, you're on pace to win for the year. I've seen the author speak, and we actually brought him to a Keller Williams regional event a couple years back. So the 12-week year. And then 2 podcasts that I would recommend. The first is by Eric Fisher, and it's called Beyond the To-Do Lists. Beyond the To-Do Lists. An excellent, in real time, tangible examples of how you can get more efficient to create success lists, prioritize your calendar, and be focusing on the right things. And then lastly, with Kevin Cruz, his podcast, Extreme Productivity. This is awesome because he's able to give not only examples, but different tools, apps, resources that he recommends depending on what area of your life you'd like to be more resourceful in. So what we did today is we talked about this innate need, right? Over 80% of people don't have a system to be more efficient with their time. And we went over some different facts and statistics around how that's hurting people in their life and in their productivity. Then we jumped into 10 strategies that we can employ immediately. My recommend is that you pick 2 or 3 from today's podcast, track it for the next week about you using those strategies, and see if you see an improved performance in your efficiency. As a reminder, we're going to do part 2 on the 4 Ds of time management. We're going to go deeper. We're going to give you some examples and some resources around how you can implement that into your world. If you found value in today's episode, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss a lesson to be the leader you deserve to be. And until next time, lead on.